Hey everybody, thanks for joining me on my live. You can also join me on the radio on CIFA 104.1 FM, Monday to Friday, noon to 3, Atlantic Standard Time. Just about 30 seconds here, and I'm on live on CIFA, given the top of the hour weather. Thanks again for joining. I will be with you in just a few.
La météo est commanditée par Fuse. Ici, pour tout besoin de chauffage, Fuel à botte est logué depuis 1960. Toujours fier d'aider un nouveau client.
Cette condition actuelle a été enregistrée à l'aéroport de Yarmouth à 11h du matin. Généralement ensoleillé aujourd'hui, pression de 101.2 kPa, tendance qui hausse. Humidité de 87%, vent sud-ouest de 17 km/h, visibilité de 19 km. Les prévisions pour la fin de semaine ici, généralement ensoleillé pour aujourd'hui, devenant sud du sud-ouest à 20 km/h avec rafale à 40 cet après-midi, maximum de 18 sauf 22 à l'intérieur des terres, indice UV de 6 ou élevé. Ce soir et cette nuit, ennuagement des showers débutant après minuit, nappe de brume au cours de la nuit. Hauteur prévue de 5 à 10 mm. Vent du sud-ouest de 20 km/h avec rafale de 40, devenant du nord-ouest 20 avec rafale à 40 au cours de la nuit, minimum de 12. Pour le monde, ça donne des showers, cessant tôt le matin, dégagement ou clearing par la suite, vent du nord-ouest de 20 km/h avec rafale à 40, maximum 17, indice UV de 5 ou modéré. Le nuit clear, minimum de 10. Samedi, ça donne beau-temps, maximum de 17 et la nuit minimum de 12. Hey Narcisse, Jennifer, how you guys doing?
Fuel à botte est logué depuis 1960. Toujours fier d'aider un nouveau client.
Hey Sarah. Merci pour me joindre, pour me rejoindre, like they say. Thanks for joining me. That's loud. CIFA, Jay Hubbard. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Yeah, j'ai tout déchiré l'autre jour. Ah, j'ai point changé de shoes, le splitter là. Right on. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Ces nouvelles sont commanditées par AF Stereo.
Hey guys, just having some issues. I'm only getting mono sound at the studio. So I'm just going to see if I can address that sound out. Just looking at the way it's set up here. Listen, Justin Doucette.
Les maisons de soins pourront embaucher des infirmières retraitées ou formées à l'étranger qui répondent à des critères spécifiques.
Thanks again for joining me, guys. I'm just looking this over. Channel 11 and 12. That's from the computer. These guys, what do we have here?
Pour les assistants en soins continus qui se concentrent sur les soins personnels. Pêche et Océan Canada ne demandera pas de nécropsie pour élucider la mort d'un jeune orcal bleu, une espèce menacée, près du Cap Breton. La carcasse a été repérée la semaine dernière à Sutherland Cove, environ 6 km.
How can I address that? Thanks again for joining me. So, yeah. Doesn't make for great airtime for you guys. Basically what I'm after.
Avait estimé mardi qu'il serait important de déterminer la cause de la mort de l'animal. Pêche et Océan Canada a toutefois expliqué que la carcasse se trouvait dans un endroit éloigné qui n'est pas accessible par voie terrestre. Un représentant de l'agence fédérale a précisé par courriel que l'état de décomposition de la carcasse avait aussi contribué à la décision de ne pas procéder à une nécropsie. Une nouvelle étude soutient qu'il serait possible de réduire les problèmes de malnutrition de millions de personnes vivant dans des régions défavorisées de la planète si seulement on leur donnait accès aux poissons pêchés au large des côtes de leur pays. Ces poissons, s'ils étaient
Still have about 4 minutes here before I'm on air again. I'm just looking for a way. Stereo out, recording out.
Des États-Unis et de l'Université Dalhousie à Halifax ont été publiés hier dans la revue scientifique Nature. Selon ce qu'a pu constater l'équipe de chercheurs, les poissons pêchés au large des côtes de certains pays d'Afrique, comme la Namibie et la Mauritanie, sont souvent exploités par des pays étrangers et destinés à l'exportation. Le jour 15 de la campagne électorale fédérale hier était le jour de la surenchère verte. Libéraux et conservateurs ont rivalisé pour aider les rénovations de maisons dans un but écologique, comme le constate Lina Diff.
À 2 jours d'une grève pour le climat qui mobilisera des milliers de manifestants vendredi, Justin Trudeau et Andrew Scheer tapaient encore sur le clou des changements climatiques, mais pas avec la même intensité. Un prêt sans intérêt pour rénover sa maison chez les libéraux, un crédit d'impôt pour faire la même chose chez les conservateurs. À ça, le chef libéral ajoute une assurance inondation et d'autres mesures pour ceux qui subissent les effets des changements climatiques.
I wonder.
N'en fait pas autant.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to address. I've got a monaural audio signal, monaural signal coming out of my board, which basically is telling me one of the splitters that comes out of the computer, which is then sending live through Skype, is maybe having some issues. Still have about a minute before I'm on again.
Ces chiffres ont été vérifiés par le directeur parlementaire du budget qui s'est penché sur les 24 promesses les plus chères du Parti vert. Madame May qualifie ces promesses d'audacieuse. Elle prévoit néanmoins qu'un gouvernement vert arriverait à un budget équilibré en 5 ans. Les sports dans quelques instants. Le Canada amorcera le championnat du monde de hockey féminin de 2020 avec un match contre la Finlande, médaillée d'argent de la 4e édition. 31 matchs du 31 mars au 10 avril prochain à Halifax et à Truro. Le Canada, qui a dû se contenter du bronze le printemps dernier, évoluera au sein du groupe A avec la Finlande, la Russie, la Suisse et les États-Unis, quintuples championnes en titre. Les matchs du groupe A.
I've only got about 20 seconds till I'm back on air, so skipping that for a second.
L'Allemagne, la Hongrie et le Japon. Halifax a été la ville hôtesse du tournoi pour la dernière fois en 2004. Au baseball, Rowdy Tellez a obtenu ses 20e et 21e circuits, et dans les Blue Jays de Toronto, elle a emporté 3-2 devant les Orioles de Baltimore. De CIFA, c'était vos informations.
Ces nouvelles sont commanditées par AF Stereo.
Allô, mon nom c'est Jeannick Dugas, la coordinatrice des activités au Festival Acadien Clare. Vous écoutez à la radio CIFA, le son du Sud-Ouest.
À venir aujourd'hui, il y aura des annonces communautaires, quoi ce qui se passe aux écoles, quoi ce qui se passe au CAPEB, les journées nationaux, des bonnes fêtes et ou anniversaires et toutes sortes de bons tunes. Alors, tenez m'écouter ici sur CIFA 104,1 FM, le son du Sud-Ouest, avec Jay Hubbard, à Voix'd Par-en-Bas. Hey guys. I think I got this figured out. Hi Marion, I'm in with the around line you are. Hey, comment ça va? Alright. pretty good so far. So je vais essayer. J'ai fait des changes sur le board là. So we'll see. N'avais comme un quarter inch to RCA qui rentre rien dans le channel 11 et 12 là pour l'ordinateur. Je vais le tester de là cause n'avais des RCA sur le board man. So ça travaille à cette. So we're back to normal there. Et yeah, à cette heure j'ai 2 quarter inch to RCA. So j'ai mis ça right sur le splitter. So si ça se passe encore, c'est le splitter qui est frigué. J'ai un autre à essayer. So, qu'il m'a savoir si l'autre splitter est encore frigué. You said wrong yesterday. The weapon. Stia. Le trouver anyway. Oh, tac. Yeah, si ça se fait encore, call-moi back, s'il vous plaît. Et yeah, je charge le splitter pour voir si ça arrive. Thank you. Bye. Works out good. Alright, thanks for tuning in to the live, guys. Sorry about the dead air. Completely my bad. Yeah, I just had a quote-unquote technical difficulty to try to deal with here. I was only getting mono-aural sound. That means coming out of one ear. Or coming out of one speaker only on one side. So I'd get a left or a right, I don't know which. I think I figured it out. Readjusted the board. Hey. Thanks for joining me, George. Any chance, if you're still watching the live, any chance you'd be interested in doing an interview, George, about your book? If so, let me know. Or if you've got any upcoming projects you want to talk about, let me know. I'd love to have you on, do an interview, even a pre-recorded interview, and kind of, give people more of an idea of what you've got going on. I think that'd be great. So leave me a comment or message me, and I'll get back to you. Right now, I'm juggling 2 full-time jobs, basically, so I only have weekends to address stuff like that. And I apologize, I can't get right back to you. But that's okay. I'll work that out. This weekend, for those of you that are interested, Monday is actually Podcast Day, National Podcast Day. And in light of that, I'm going to try to get a podcast done with some of my friends. I'll have to be in touch with them. I'm off Friday, so it might give me a chance to be in touch with them, to kind of plan the weekend out a little bit. And hopefully maybe Sunday night or something do a podcast. Until I get 1,000 subscribers, I'm forced to do a recording. I can't just use a mobile device to do a live, so I can either do a recording and post it after the fact, or set up a computer that'll allow me to do a recording, which I've kind of played around with, but we'll have to see if I can set that up, kind of clean up my studio. It was an absolute mess. Like they say, worst case Ontario. That's a Ricky-ism instead of worst case scenario. Matthew Joseph Blin. Comment ça va? How's it going, man? I have to talk to ML and them and see if they would mind my own show being broadcast. I'm back. I can picture it. La barbe est revenue. Yes, sir. You guys, we should all just start this thing a buddy of mine, he's trying, or he is a Mason, a Freemason. They're trying to be there of third degree, I think he's going for. Return de la barbe, la grosse barbe. I used to have one of those barbs, but I wear a CPAP mask and I can't freaking breathe with a barb anymore. Comme sauver l'âme. Spent a lot of time talking with my buddy Josh, and they're starting what they're calling choir practice. So Masons are sort of spiritual but not religious. The Freemasons, that is. Where's that crepe? Claude Godin, sais-tu quoi? Ironically, it's la journée de crêpes, the pancakes, moi je dirais. And what a crepe, to me, crepes are what Grand-Mère Pauline, she'd take bread dough, stretch it out, fry it in a pan. Nice hot cast iron pan there, come out just piping hot, ready to be eaten. Put some butter on there. If you want some cinnamon with sugar. Wee! Ça c'est une crepe, as the guy said. That's what I call a crepe. And that is good. Woo. Beaver tail type of thing, I guess they call it. Well, I'm going to be back in just a minute. Stick this on. Annonce communautaire. I got a few community announcements to do. Don't forget there's a Chase the Ace at the Wedgeport Legion tonight. About $2,700. 34 cards left. If you got the opportunity. Yeah, it's been a while though, Matthew. I haven't watched Napoleon Dynamite in a while. And yeah, Chase the Ace at the Clare Golf and Country Club. Jackpot's estimated at 120 grand, so if you can get there, 6 cards left. Vous êtes rendu ici sur CIFA 104,1 avec Jay Hubbard à Voix'd Par-en-Bas. C'est 12h16. Bon après-midi tout le monde. Votre unité annonce communautaire pour commencer la journée ici. Ici, le jeudi 26 septembre, c'est la chasse à l'as à la Legion de Wedgeport, les jeudis soirs de 7h jusqu'à 8h. Le jackpot est à propos 2600 pièces et augmente à chaque semaine jusqu'à gagner. Il reste 34 cartes. À la Clare Golf and Country Club, le jackpot est estimé il y a une autre chasse à l'as et le jackpot est estimé à 120 000 pièces. N'arak 6 cartes de reste. Les billets sont en vente de 6h30 jusqu'à 8h30 à la Clubhouse. Tirage à 9h. Et ça arrive bien vite ici. À l'école secondaire de Par-en-Bas, il aimerait inviter les membres de leur famille et de la communauté à participer à leur course Terry Fox aujourd'hui. Ça commence à 2h25. Venez en grand nombre pour supporter une bonne cause. N'oubliez pas de payer pour vos billets, veut dire 50-50 pour le transport de Claire, avant le tirage demain à peine. Il sera que 2 pièces le morceau, les billets, mais si que les billets gagnants n'est pas payé pour, personne ne gagne. Pour d'autres informations là-dessus, vous pouvez le rejoindre au 902-769-2333. Ce vendredi 7, le 27 septembre, ça c'est demain, il y aura une soirée banalité, Trivia Night, à la Club Acadien dans Saint-Andrew-Rousseau. 10 pièces par personne, équipe de 6, en support des Amis de Saint-Anne. Aussi en support des Amis de Saint-Anne, le samedi 28 septembre, il y aura un déjeuner à la Club Acadien de 8h du matin jusqu'à 11h. Le samedi 5 octobre, il y aura une expo pour le monde âgé 50 ou plus à l'école secondaire de Par-en-Bas, ici en Tousjet. L'événement commence à 9h du matin et finit à 3h de l'après-midi. Les participants pourront s'occuper des ateliers, visiter les exposants, partager un dîner chaud et gagner des prix. S'il vous plaît, préinscrire au plus tard le vendredi 27 septembre avec Karen Morton au 902-742-3542, extension 1925. Et sur email karen.morton@nshealth.ca. Aussi, n'oubliez pas d'aller checker out mon concours sur la page Facebook à Radio CIFA, appelé Quelle auto est-il? Là-dessus, je garde pour des bonnes réponses aux questions sur l'année, la marque et le modèle de voiture que j'ai mis dans le portrait. Vous aurez la chance à gagner soit 35 pièces contre un échange de huile à l'automar à Guy en Tousjet, ou un échange de huile gratuite chez Tuscan Ford. Il y a des restrictions qui s'appliquent là-dessus. Et ça, c'est tout pour Aster. Écoutez, Paul Dwayne ensemble pour toujours.
Je suis Aiden Darcy, le capitaine de l'équipe de hockey masculin senior pour Par-en-Bas. Vous écoutez à Radio CIFA, c'est du Sud-Ouest.
Cool. 12:30. That's cool. Excuse me, I gotta grab this call. CIFA, Jakey Parton. Hello. Wonderful. Wonderful. Peut-être ça y est. Je dois le voir bien vite ici. OK. Ouais. Parfait. Yeah. C'est vrai qu'un comme un cheap splitter type affaire, right? I wonder. J'ai un autre Cordy City too. Ça se fera peut-être. J'en ai deux même. Ouais. Yep. Yes. That'll work. Cool. Ouais. Yeah, ça c'est alright, dude. Ça workera. Alright, bye. Hey! So it sounds like, hey Joel, nice to see you again. It sounds like we got the little technical issue out of the way there. I was getting just mono sound coming out of the speakers in Comoville. So swapped a few wires around here. With all electronics, I used to do this stuff for a living for Skytech. I'd do home audio video installs and satellite installs and stuff like that. With all electronics, most systems, basically if you approach things with a process of elimination kind of in mind, you can selectively choose at that point which things could be the cause of what effect, which could be the cause of what effect. So in this case, I had two splitters. One wire that came, it split to one direction. That split to a second splitter, which came back and went into the board. First thing to do is eliminate one of the splitters and see if that's the issue. And so far, so good. Seems to be working. Yeah, if you got questions about that kind of thing, let me know that too. I'll do my best to help you out. Same thing's true, like if you're buying a TV or home audio equipment, if you're wiring a new house or retrofitting an old house with especially low voltage electronics, because I'm not a certified electrician, but I've run low voltage wiring for years and years and years, which is things like internet and satellite and phone wires and almost any kind of TV wiring. If you got questions about that, pop me a message and I'll do my best to answer them for you. I used to do it as a side business, but I just don't have time anymore, so I apologize to those of you that looked forward to that sometimes, getting somebody else to do it for you. But especially TVs, it's a mixed bag of misinformation, and yeah, I can help to sort through that type of thing. How's it going, Shane? But yeah, to jump back. Hi, Audrey. Matt, c'est Claude Kodak. Claude Le Crepe. I mean, Creep, sorry. I'm confused now, Claude. It was something Matthew. It's La Journée de Crepe, so I wasn't sure what was going on. I'm just kidding. Anyway, joke racketists, they guys, they got good senses of humor. They know it's Journée Nationale. I'm going to do that next. So yeah, I was talking for a minute. My buddy is attempting to ascend in the Masons, I guess. I don't know what organization. And one of the things they're doing to try to kind of pique people's interest is Claude Lacrèpe. Yeah, it could be his new, instead of the Love Chef, Claude the Crepe Chef. Coda. Ça travaillera. Ça workera, comme qu'ils disaient. Nailed it. Claude la Crepe Chef, coda. Yes, that's an inside joke forever. From then on, it'll be an inside joke. So, in the temple for the Masons, they do what they call a choir practice, and it's basically a bunch of people sit down and chat about whatever. Last night it was ego. What is ego? How do you get rid of ego? Is ego the manifestation of ill intent in all humankind? Is it always evil? Is it sometimes not? Is it instinct? Is it not? Yeah, I struggle with my own demons when I perform, for example. There's that inside voice that's always saying, what do you think you're doing? You're not good enough to be on stage in front of people. That's constantly there. Or if I mess up, it's like, I told you, you suck. Like, what are you doing? So it's a constant fight. Has been for as long as I can remember, ever since I was just a young guy. And so that got me thinking, what's ego? Why is ego an unrelenting voice of dissent? Why is it always negative for me? Is it always negative for everybody? My comprehension of it is that ego is basically the guiding force for your five senses. So when you're born just an innocent soul. You don't even comprehend that you are a separate thing, that you're a separate entity. And at the point of your development, when you start to realize, I'm such a separate entity that if I was to lie to somebody, they're not going to know I'm lying because they aren't me and I'm not them. Once that's happening, your ego is developing. And that, I think, is the root of all evil, in my estimate. So that starts. After that, really close thereafter, and actually I'll say it first. After that, you start school, you start socializing and learning what's socially normalized, what's accepted within the big tribe that you're going to join as a workforce. What's crazy is, as people start to realize ego is manifesting in children, and that's kind of what teaches them that they're a singular person, that they can lie, and nobody will know that they're lying. Once that starts to manifest, I think the powers that be are realizing that happened before age 5 or grade primary. And then it's almost as though the grades 1 through 12 were started, then primary was added as an afterthought, because they're like, no, they're still sponges earlier than that. Let's get them at age 5. Then they're like, no, they're sponges before that. Let's get them in pre-primary. Then there's grandier programs that are, or whatever, growing. You can start socializing your kids way earlier and basically developing their ego that's going to teach them how to live in our world with their senses for the rest of their days. The crazy thing with the developing psyche is you're learning everything, absorbing everything, and learning symbolism and language and all that stuff all at once. And if you can impact development at that stage, you could potentially change the path of that being. Some of the schools of thought that I kind of adhere to, it's the wrong word, but I can't think of it now. Some of the schools of thought say that all discontent is caused by your corporal being, your ego in this case, taking you away from your true soul's purpose. And if you can learn to get back to that purpose, that's where happiness starts coming. So that's why people start meditating and learning their true meaning as they age, because they've had enough of being separate from their true joy. And this one guy is like, except for people that have had near-death experiences, and the same guy I was talking to last night had a theory that, before either of us have ever heard this other thing I'm just telling you about, he had a theory that when you have a near-death experience, it changes you in a way that you become enlightened. You've had access to the ethereal in a way. So this guy says, yeah, this will happen between ages 5.5 and 6, that you start to split from your true soul's intent, unless you've had a near-death experience, at which point you're just reset and you start from scratch understanding all these truths. Basically, what I think both theories point to is a rift that they talk about in quantum string theory, the multi-universe or the multiverse theory. So imagine that I personally have had a near-death experience. I got in an accident where I left the road at 100 miles an hour, 160 clicks, no seatbelt, and just closed my eyes, held onto the steering wheel. Nonetheless, I'm on in a couple of minutes here. So, had a near-death experience. What I imagine is imagined since then, basically, in one world, there's a Jay Hubbard that died. That night I died. Because there's not really any reason that explains why I lived, and why the part of the truck that I was in is the only part that survived it, except for the expanse of eternity having replayed that accident in a billion different ways, finding the one way where I'd actually lived through the accident, because I hit the rock in the ditch at the certain angle that flipped me and landed in a certain manner, and that one existence is the only one that continued forth. So there might be 770 billion other existences where I die in that accident over and over and over, and this one is the one that I keep living, unless it's your time, at which point you actually die. I'll be back in a second. Vous êtes rendu ici en tout suite avec Jay Hubbard de Voix'd Par-en-Bas, c'est 12h32. Aujourd'hui, le 26 septembre, c'est la journée nationale des officiers de compliance. C'est aussi la journée nationale des boulettes ou des dumplings, la journée nationale de Johnny Appleseed, la journée nationale des crêpes. À moi, une crêpe, c'est une bread dough qui a été élongée et fricassée dans une poêlonne comme grand-mère Pauline faisait. Tu en mettais du beurre et du cannelle sucrée après, man, ça c'était bon. Pour cette célébration ici, j'aurais dit la journée nationale de pancake, moi-même, but whatever. C'est aussi la journée nationale de la baleine chameau, la journée nationale de conscience situationnelle, situational awareness, la journée nationale de bûcherons, or lumberjacks, de professionnels en ressources humaines, la journée nationale de souviens-toi de moi jeudi. Ça, c'est un hommage à les pets qui sont dedans ou qui n'ont pas survécu des refuges d'animaux. Cette semaine ici, c'est la semaine nationale d'être content au travail. C'est aussi le mois national de l'héritage hispanique, de lire un livre neuf, de l'amitié, du miel d'abeille, le mois national de conscience au cancer juvénile, et le mois national de conscience à l'affliction neurologique nommée Chiari. Aussi, si vous l'avez jamais essayé, lundi qui vient, c'est la journée internationale des podcasts. Un podcast, c'est beaucoup comme une émission de radio qui a été recordée sur vidéo puis mis sur Internet. Vous pouvez les watcher ou écouter n'importe quand tu veux. Il y a des milliers de topics qui sont couverts par du monde qui ont toutes sortes de positions différentes à propos des topics. Je vais faire sûr que le mien va être là pour lundi et tout, so allez checker out ça. Si vous voulez voir qu'est-ce qu'est un podcast, c'est là que tu regardes. Aster, Raphaël Butler, ma douce, reste au Canada. I just read your comment, Claude. I don't know if I should say that. Forget. Out of a million sperm, I can't believe Matt was the fastest, was the winner. Ooh, that's low. Yeah. It's your mama joke. That's your daddy joke, Claude. You could say to Matt, your daddy was so lazy that you're the sperm that won. That's rude. I don't feel that way about you for real, Matthew. That's Claude's opinion. Seems to me you guys are ragging on each other pretty hard, though, gotta say. It's podcast day, Monday. Huh. Friday, I got the evening off. I got a trivia night I'm gonna attend, and I'll probably be texting my buddies there in the background saying, "Hey, we doing a podcast or what?" Because I want to start getting my voice out to the world and start getting like guys like Matt and Claude and Adrienne and Josh and Joe Hazelton, Dan Hatfield, the astrophysicist kid. I say kid, young man that lives in Yarmouth here, comes from Yarmouth. He's currently taking a year off of astrophysics school to just kind of live life a little bit. He's the guy I want to bounce my theory about compound spinning systems. Don't know if you guys were there for that theory or not at any point on my lives. But long story short, sort of like a bicycle wheel spins on a hub. If you get a large enough system on the outside of that system, if it's spinning in unison with the rest of the bodies or planets or stars within the system, to spin in unison, it has to accelerate at the further away you get, just like the outside of a tire is traveling faster than the inside of the hub. You can't break any laws of thermodynamics or general relativity, which basically state that as you approach the speed of light, you gain mass, so you'll never ever crest the speed of light. Catch is, if you've got two systems that are rotating even the same direction or opposite, doesn't matter the directions. So in any rotating system, one point of it's going away from the other system, and one point of that other system is going away from the initialized system, say where we are. If you compound the energy, the rotating speed of the outer bodies, they may exceed the speed of light, at which point that will never be seen. And that might explain some dark matter. So I've kind of postulated that theory to him. He's interested in talking, just can't get together here. Want to hear from him. Anyone that's got a unique spin on anything, I don't care what it is, if it's religion, if you're a staunch Christian, if you're a staunch atheist, a mix of both, sort of. It's hard to say, but I've heard one instance where there was a completely atheist, always had been, raised by atheist parents, never any theism in her life at all, had an experience on psilocybin mushrooms, where if you have a large enough dose that they call a hero's dose, I think it's 150 milligrams or greater, it basically shuts off a part of your brain in the frontal lobe called the default mode network, and that's the part that controls your ego. Self-rumination, or when you think about yourself, like if somebody says use adjectives to describe yourself, when you stop and think about that, your default mode network is firing like crazy to do that. So it's almost like it's the part of your brain that controls the ego. Well, a big enough trip of this stuff shuts that off. Default mode network, the DMN, shuts off the DMN. You guys are funny. God, it's crazy. So shuts off the DMN, the default mode network. Increases the neuroplasticity of the neurons within your brain, so their actions and reactions are more likely to happen, I guess, more readily. When that DMN shuts off, it's like you've basically turned off the really loud music that's making it so you can't hear the program you're trying to tune into. You turn it off and you get to just focus. So what happens is they say there's the information, the consciousness is out there in the ethers, in the energy, the same energy that they call God. So that consciousness is there when you shut off the right part of your brain so you can actually tune into it. Our brains, the part that we don't use, part of it is a big receiving antenna for that energy. Some people believe that that is a lost connection to God that was initially given to Adam and Eve, but when they ate from the tree of knowledge, it negated that connection, and they became egotists of in a manner of speaking. So they became self-aware, at which point they became modest, and in becoming self-aware, they start becoming self-reliant as well. So there's a chance that part of the brain, they say we use 10% of our brain, Einstein used 11. There's a chance that a percentage of our brain is a connection to the energies, that it's so far gone, we've evolved so far past that we don't even remember it. We're a species with amnesia, like they'd say. I'm trying to think where I was even going with that. This tends to be my downfall when I'm podcasting too, or chatting with my buddies on the airs or whatever. Tangential thought, just like the dog that sees a squirrel goes, whatever he's doing is squirrel, and takes off. That's my downfall. Anyway, ego, great topic to broach. Try to figure out what it is, what it controls. Why is it? This is kind of a macabre topic, but why is it? I fully believe in evolution. I fully believe that, assuming that God was a man in the sky, which I don't think he is, but assuming so, if he knows everything, he knows that we have to be able to evolve in order to survive. Just part of how it's going to be. Everything has to be able to evolve in order to enable it to proliferate. So, that said, with evolution being the case in point, how can it be that people that have suicided themselves, I'll speak frankly and apologize for it, because I'm not trying to promote it at all. I've kind of been in that situation myself, and it sucks. A show on Scientology. Yeah. All religion to me is based in spiritual fact, and it's basically every culture's way to describe that fact as well as possible, to say, okay, this is something that words don't describe, but this is what I picture God as. So anyway, if evolution is the driving force, why is it that people that have killed themselves, their bloodline obviously stops right there? Why is it getting more prevalent rather than less prevalent? Eventually you'd think that everybody that has that genetic tendency, if that's what it is, because they say that depression is genetic, everyone that has that genetic tendency should basically have eliminated their own bloodline. So I start thinking, what is it that's driving this to more epic proportions all the time? The theory I've come across is that ego is like any other organism, I guess, trying to survive. So if you start being a being, I'm just going to jump out of that conversation to answer Claude. They all have similarities. Very true, Claude. I think I'm jaded a little bit, so I feel like religion at its root had the same nefarious creators. So somebody went, okay, I think it happened after the cataclysm. Big flood came, the Sphinx was built before it, the pyramids were built before it. The people that survived eventually got back to that area and went, who built that? And they're the only survivors that they know of, so they say, well, it must have been us. And they start taking credit for it. Then they're going, all right, if we died from a flood, and there's sort of evidence that maybe 10,000 years ago there was another big flood, why don't we figure out a way that we can start accumulating all the resources, so next time the big thing comes, we can survive it. So this is what they call the social elites. They create a religious system that's based in pagan belief, which is based in actual spiritual practice and spiritualism. So you ever wonder why, for example, in Catholic, I'm familiar with that, or in Catholic religion, they burn incense. And incense smells, caustic? It smells, it burns your nostrils when you inhale it. That happens to be what happens when you burn an acacia tree. Also happens to be a tree that's prevalent in the area of Mount Sinai, where Moses was said to have seen a burning bush and then experienced God. Acacia trees, I forget what it is. Those trees have dimethyltryptamine in them, which is called the spirit molecule, because when you see it, you basically experience what it's like to die and see God. So Moses basically trips balls on a psychedelic compound that is put here on earth by God himself, knowing that humankind needs this to attain spirituality, and that's the Stone Age theory. Then the religious leaders say, well, we can't just create something from scratch. A, they're probably not smart enough to do it, and B, people won't go away completely from their current beliefs and start something from scratch. So let's give them a little taste of what the beliefs are, and we'll create Christmas as a holiday that's celebrated in Scandinavia, I think it is, because they had Amanita muscaria, which is a psychedelic mushroom that's red, and they dry it by hanging it on trees, like the red balls that you hang on trees. They also put it over mantles and hang it there in a sock or a stocking. Well, they had priests or shaman that would go around village to village, and people would gather gifts to thank them for giving them spirituality. They would wear a costume very similar to Santa Claus, but it was white and blue traditionally, I guess. And if you look at the traditional Santa Claus, same thing's true. What else is crazy? Oh, it would snow so much that to get into the huts, they have a hole in the top where the fire smoke would get out, and they'd have to crawl over top of the snow in through that chimney to get in and leave the Amanita muscarias for these people to have. Christmas is based in that ritual, which is basically mycological worship. So it's based in paganism and spiritualism and all that kind of stuff. So to go back, these social elites, the aristocrats of the time, said, well, let's create religion. If you don't believe my religion, to make sure it proliferates, I'm going to say, if you don't believe in my God, then you don't deserve to live, so we'll kill you. So only people that believe and in that practice are the ones that get to stay alive in their eyes. That makes for people that believe in incense burning, believe in Christmas, believe in all sorts of things like that are based in paganism. The symbology even overlaps, because the cross is the houses of the zodiac as they cross through. So they start that. Then they're like, all right, we have to find a way to restrict information to people too, so they don't start learning the truth on themselves. Which is why in my grandmother's time, for example, it was a sin to read your Bible. You had to go to church, and it was a sin to get educated yourself. You had to take the word of God from the Father, from the priest. It's kind of crazy when you think about it from that light. So anyway, we have to restrict knowledge. So but we need people that are doctors and lawyers and bankers, and we need educated people. So let's give them enough knowledge so that they're smart enough to do the tasks we need them to perform. But we'll create a doctorate system, or a system of knowledge, graduate system, diplomas, that we get to choose a curriculum. And that's kind of why universities tend to have, like St. Mary's University, Notre Dame University, St. Francis Xavier University. There's a lot of them, especially the old ones, that are based in religion. So they've got an education system, they've got a belief system, they have bankers that they've trained, and the bankers tended to be the social elites themselves anyway, like the Rothschilds and Rockefellers that were. Yeah, Claude said take the names out, and the main characters are in many religions, and I agree fully. Fully. The lore is the same. It's 500 cultures have a Noah's flood style lore. 500. Just flipping stuff around here for some reason. What's going on? I don't know what's up with that player. That's what's up. Okay. That wasn't nice, Matt. Gotta say. I was an altar boy. He said I had to or God wouldn't let me in. I'm just kidding. That's not nice either. How nefarious is that position? How nefarious were the popes? After the popes had fallen out of... Like, the Vatican itself is all just nefarious intent, in my estimate. Once the popes kind of lose power over the people, because they basically put out a hit on the Knights Templar that were considered just religious people, they create the Sicilian mobs. They're basically a militant sect of papism or being popes. In Italy, like, it's crazy. There's so many ties to just corruption through and through. And then, as I said before, the Spaniards, they're Catholics. They go to the Middle Americas, they find these mushrooms, Neo-Atacatl, or so, I can't remember, but it means flesh of the gods in their language. Excuse me. So they're eating these sacraments that get them to have a trip through their own death, basically, through the death of their ego, and just accept spiritualism as the part of their being. Pedo priests. How evil do you have to be to use someone's belief against them? I am considered the father of God, or I don't know, a bridge to God. If you don't believe me, you go to hell. Like, what the heck is that? I was out of line. Nah, it's too soon, like they say. I don't know. Anyway, all this stuff is crazy. So there's so many links back and forth, like the tie-in stuff that nobody remembers. Like, nobody accepts a culture with amnesia. Can you tell me where the days of the week come from? Did you know that Thursday is actually from Norse lore? Thursday? Can't remember the other ones. Wednesday had one. Tuesday, I think, had another. It's like it's right in front of us, and nobody remembers this stuff. Holy. I hope Joe Rogan's right that at some point we've rooted through so much history that we can almost lay everything out. Like, okay, so if this is from this day to this day, then from the end of that day to the next day it must be this. And then that fits in with this, and this fits in with that, and you get just a long timeline that's on this massive supercomputer that just lays it right out in front of you.
Allô, c'est Albert Goddard. Vous écoutez Radio CIFA, le son du Sud-Ouest.
Vous êtes rendu ici en tout chat avec Jay Hubbard à Voix'd Par-en-Bas. C'est 12h54. À la fin de l'heure, je vais vous donner du weather nouveau. Pour l'instant, je vais dire ce qui se passe aux écoles. Aujourd'hui, le 26 de septembre, c'est la journée Terry Fox pour l'école Belleville. De 1h15, ça va arrêter vite, 1h15 jusqu'à 1h55. L'école demande que les élèves qui participent apportent un dos de minimum de 1 pièce. Les membres de famille sont invités à leur joindre pour une marche à l'extérieur de l'école. Aussi, ce soir, c'est leur soirée de porte ouverte, open house, pour les familles de 6h30 jusqu'à 7h30. Le jeudi 9 octobre, c'est la journée de prise de photos pour l'école Belleville. Aujourd'hui, c'est la prise de photos à l'école Wedgeport. C'est trop tard, c'est que tu fineras out about ça ici à cette heure. Quand même, prise de photos à l'école Wedgeport aujourd'hui. Demain, vendredi le 27, c'est leur journée de Terry Fox. Next lundi, le 30 septembre, c'est la journée de chemise orange pour l'école Wedgeport. Le dimanche 6 octobre, il y aura un talent show à l'école en support de la Légion de Wedgeport, branche 155. École Pamlico Ouest, le mardi 1er octobre, c'est leur journée de prise de photos. Et le vendredi 4, ils viennent ici à Toustret pour voir un spectacle au salle Père Maurice Leblanc. Ça, c'est pour les grades 6, maternelle jusqu'au grade 6. École Par-en-Bas, tous les lundis, mardis et jeudis. So aujourd'hui, c'est à Lyon de 8h à 9h15. C'est le programme du petit déjeuner. Ils cherchent toujours pour des bénévoles. Et vous pouvez le rejoindre au 902-648-5900 pour plus d'informations. Aujourd'hui, c'est leur journée de Terry Fox, comme je disais tantôt. Les élèves iront marcher ou courir dehors à 2h25 autour du tract derrière l'école. C'est pour un prélèvement de fonds. Et ce qui élève 2000 pièces ou plus, je vous la dire. Ils shave la barbe à M. Marc. Vous êtes invité à le rejoindre et tout à 2h25 pour cet après-midi. Aujourd'hui, vous été à le forum des conseils d'étudiants pour le CIFA en Nouvelle-Écosse. Next lundi, le 30 septembre, c'est la journée de chemise orange ici à Par-en-Bas et tout. Ça, c'est un hommage pour les victimes autochtones. Ça, c'est des indigenous, des écoles résidentielles au nord du Canada. Commençant le lundi 7 octobre jusqu'au 18 pour les grades 6, c'est l'évaluation de la Nouvelle-Écosse en mathématiques et de la lecture et l'écriture en anglais. Vendredi le 11 octobre, c'est une journée pédagogique. Le 21 et jusqu'au 24, c'est une autre évaluation de Nouvelle-Écosse pour lecture et écriture en français pour 6e année. Et jeudi et le vendredi 24 et 25 octobre, c'est des journées pédagogiques. Astère Jacques Surette, le siffleur. Ça, c'était DJ Vern in Belleville. Je pourrais right sûr quoi ce qui a passé là juste avant, but whatever. J'ai flippé tout sans vouloir le faire. J'ai dormi beaucoup. I only slept for 4 hours. So je suis mieux fatigué, tu peux peut-être dire ici, là. I worked in the OR last night. And not that it was busy, but OR is one of the places where you can end up with overtime. So what I typically do is I leave their there's a room, callback room. I leave their callback room. It's been fully cleaned, basically all the way around the entire room. It's been completely sterilized, disinfected. The bed has been disinfected completely as well. So that's what they call an end of day cleaning. So in the middle of the day, they'll do an in-between cleaning. In-between is what they call them, where they do a quick wipe around the other side of the room. They do a quick wipe of the top surface of the bed, clean out any blood if there's been some. Don't mean to gross you out. So in between, they do that quickly. They get ready for another patient. It's been disinfected. But once every 24 hours, it has to do a deep clean. You have to sterilize everything. They do a quick mop up of any spots on the ground after everything. Then when I come in for the night shift, I do a deep clean on the floor. I wipe down the overhead fixtures, lights and cameras and TV screens and stuff that they need to do the surgeries with. Wipe down the doors. So doors, floors, and lights, we call it. And that's called, that's considered my job when I do the OR. But if they come in for a case in the middle of the night, when I'm working, the end of day that's been done is basically negated. You got to start over. So I have to redo everything. So what I'll do is leave that floor, because if I go there and spend my time cleaning up perfectly, I've just wasted potentially a half an hour. So I leave that callback room. They come back to the same room all the time, if at all possible. If the other room doesn't look like a bomb blew up in it or something, then they'll come back to the callback room. In some cases, I've had them ask for the callback room to be quick cleaned so they could go in there even though the other room was ready to go. Whatever. It's not my decision. It doesn't matter. So I leave that. I got... Everything was done. All my work was done. Everything was good. It was break time. I had skipped breaks to make sure all my work was done. I chatted with my buddy Josh. He was working in DI. He wasn't having a super busy night. Chatted with him. It's time to go home, and I'm like, oh man, I still got to do the floor. So I go in the ORs, I do the floor, I pick up the last little bit of laundry, the linen and stuff in the locker rooms, which is part of the end of the absolute end portion of my day. Excuse me, I got the weather coming right now. C'est couramment à 1 heure. Ces conditions actuelles ont été enregistrées à l'aéroport de Yarmouth à 12 heures aujourd'hui. C'est 18 degrés Celsius dehors, généralement ensoleillé, pression barométrique de 101.1 kPa, tendance qui baisse. Humidité de 69%, vent de sud-ouest 21 km/h, visibilité de 24 km. Les prévisions ont été émises à 11 heures. Généralement ensoleillé, vent devenant du sud-ouest à 20 km/h, avec rafale à 40 cet après-midi, maximum 18 sauf 20 à l'intérieur des terres, indice UV de 6 ou élevé. Ce soir et cette nuit, ennuagement, des showers débutant après minuit, nappe de brume au cours de la nuit, hauteur prévue de 5 à 10 mm, vent du sud-ouest de 20 km/h avec rafale à 40 devenant du nord-ouest à 20 avec rafale à 40 au cours de la nuit, minimum de 12. Pour vendredi, les showers cessant tôt le matin, clearing par la suite, vent du nord-ouest de 20 km/h avec rafale à 40, maximum 17, indice UV de 5 ou modéré. La nuit, tout clear, minimum de 10, et pour samedi, ensoleillé, maximum de 17. Hello, Anne. Comment ça va? So yeah, I ended up home late last night, basically, is what that big old story was about. Working in the OR, making sure it was clean. If, for example, that was legitimate overtime, I'd have to call the office, say, okay, I got done at this time, and I put the finishing time also on my worksheet that denotes everything I've done for the night. In the OR, I actually made a spreadsheet that had all of that information. Part of one of the things I'd do if I were to become manager to trim the efficiency. Hey Barb, I think we've even talked about this. Barb used to work with me at the hospital there. If I was a manager and I was seeing people weren't getting their job done, I'd basically break down every single job, every single piece of their job, and assign it a time. So if you do a job for long enough, it doesn't take long, a few days, you realize, okay, to wash a stretcher is going to take me 5 minutes, and to make it's going to take me 2. So if you say I wash 20 stretchers times 5 is an hour. Is that right? Yeah, something like that. So you can account for every single second. Also accounts for your breaks. So if you have time that's unaccounted for, you can basically say to your employees, okay, what's up here? So again, if I was king, all the job duties are all written down in the OR. Every single one of them would have an allotted amount of time. And just to be extra fair. You make it so that if it's a super dirty OR to clean, there's a lot of fluids, so I don't gross people out. Then you just allow the most amount of time it would take to clean a dirty one, and people have a little bit of leeway. Anyway, that's how you trim that system. Here's one idea for you. Yeah. What were we talking about before all the breaks and stuff? I don't remember.
avait estimé mardi qu'il serait important de déterminer la cause de la mort de l'animal. Pêche et Océan Canada a toutefois expliqué que la carcasse se trouvait dans un endroit éloigné qui n'est pas accessible par voie terrestre. Un représentant de l'agence fédérale a précisé par courriel que l'état de décomposition de la carcasse avait aussi contribué à procéder à une nécropsie. Une nouvelle étude soutient qu'il serait possible de réduire les problèmes de malnutrition de millions de personnes vivant dans des régions défavorisées de la planète, si seulement on leur donnait accès aux poissons pêchés au large.
David Miles. I'm going to search for some David Miles. Looks like he's in the caps.
Permettait aux gens de combler les carences en fer, en zinc et en calcium. Les résultats de cette étude sont chercheurs du Royaume-Uni, des États-Unis et de l'Université d'Dalhousie à Halifax ont été publiés hier dans la revue scientifique Nature. Selon ce qu'a pu constater l'équipe de chercheurs, les poissons pêchés au large des côtes de certains pays d'Afrique, comme la Namibie et la Mauritanie, sont souvent exploités par des pays étrangers et destinés à l'exportation. Le jour 15 de la campagne électorale fédérale hier était le jour de la surenchère verte. Libéraux et conservateurs ont rivalisé pour aider les rénovations de maisons dans un but écologique, comme le constate Lina Libre.
À 2 jours d'une grève pour le climat qui mobilisera des milliers de manifestants vendredi, Justin Trudeau et Andrew Scheer tapaient encore sur le clou des changements climatiques, mais pas avec la même intensité. Un prêt sans intérêt pour rénover sa maison chez les libéraux, un crédit d'impôt pour faire la même chose chez les conservateurs. À ça, le chef fédéral ajoute une assurance inondation et d'autres mesures pour ceux qui subissent les effets des changements climatiques. Le chef conservateur n'en fait pas autant, parce qu'à son avis,
Canada is not the problem.
Andrew Scheer maintient que le problème, ce n'est pas le Canada, qu'il faut que la lutte soit mondiale. Pendant ce temps, la leader du Parti vert a mis 6 chiffres sur table, détaillés tous les promesses et d'où viendraient les revenus pour les pays. L'INADI, la presse canadienne, Ottawa.
Le Parti vert a présenté hier une version chiffrée de sa plateforme électorale. À Halifax,
I got 8 minutes to get rid of here.
La première des leaders des partis principaux à se prêter à pareil exercice. Elle a ainsi détaillé ce qu'un gouvernement vert dépenserait et où il trouverait ses revenus. Ces chiffres ont été vérifiés par le directeur parlementaire du budget qui s'est penché sur les 24 promesses les plus chères du Parti vert.
5 minutes.
Madame May qualifie ces promesses d'audacieuses. Elle prévoit
David
néanmoins
Miles.
qu'un
What should you
gouvernement
say?
vert
A minute and 32.
un budget équilibré en 5
So I'm going to go to my own
Dans
tunes.
quelques instants. Le Canada amorcera le championnat du monde de hockey féminin de 2020 avec un match contre la Finlande, médaillé d'argent de la dernière édition.
A minute and 32 is too long, so 3 minutes. 2:30.
Du 31 mars au 10 avril prochain à Halifax et à Truro. Le Canada, qui a pu se contenter du bronze le printemps dernier, évoluera au sein du groupe A avec la Finlande, la Russie, la
2:30.
Suisse et les États-Unis, quintuple championne en titre. Les matchs du groupe A auront lieu à Halifax. Le groupe B à Truro regroupera la République tchèque, le Danemark, l'Allemagne, la Hongrie et le Japon. Halifax a été la ville hôtesse du tournoi pour la dernière fois en 2004. Au baseball, Rowdy Tellez a obtenu ses 20e et 21e circuits, aidant les Blue Jays de Toronto à l'emporter
There's that one.
devant les Orioles de Baltimore. De CIFA Héros, c'était vos informations.
Ces nouvelles sont commanditées par AF
Mon nom, c'est Louis Commode. Vous écoutez CIFA, le son de Sud-Ouest.
Vous êtes rendu ici à Toustret avec Jay Hubbard à Voix'd Par-en-Bas. C'est Anne-Rit couramment. Dire des bonnes fêtes pour aujourd'hui. On va commencer par dire bonnes fêtes à mes amis sur Facebook. Aujourd'hui, c'est la fête à Kyle Hines de Argyle. C'est aussi la 38e fête à Melissa Frotton qui travaille à l'hôpital. C'est la 39e fête à Aaron Leblanc de Heilbrook. Lui, c'est un des garçons à Émile Leblanc, le maître d'école, qui a eu l'idée de mettre la râpure dans une cône fricassée faite de patates shreddées. Par là, à propos de cette idée-là, moi je sais ça. Tu imagines comme un waffle cone manière de patates shreddées quand t'es fricassé et tu mets la râpure de n'importe quelle sorte de verre là-dedans. Oui. Ça ferait bon. Anyway, ça c'est aussi la 41e fête à Jill-Marie Jacquard de Wedgeport. Et c'est la 67e fête à Janine Muse, qui est la coordinatrice de IMO pour Argyle. Kyle, Melissa, Aaron, Jill-Marie et Janine partagent leur fête avec le mode fameux suivant. Ça c'est une miette loin back. Dans 1181, 1181, Saint Francis de Assisi, fondateur italien de l'ordre franciscain, Franciscan monks, a été né en Assisi, Holy Roman Empire. Ça c'était même avant Rome était considérée Italie. Dans 1849, Ivan Pavlov, physiologiste russe et pionnier en psychologie, était lauréat du prix Nobel en physiologie en 1904 et le premier lauréat russe du prix Nobel. Lui a été né en Ryazan, Russia. Dans 1888, 1888, T.S. Eliot, c'est un poète, dramatiste et critique américain, aussi lauréat du prix Nobel en littérature en 1948, a été né en Saint-Louis, Missouri. Dans 1889, 89, Martin Heidegger, philosophe d'Allemagne, a été né en Meßkirch, Allemagne. Dans 1897, 1897, Pape Paul VI, né Giovanni Montini, le 262e pape catholique, entre 1963 et 78, a été né en Concessio, Italie. Dans 1902, Albert Anastasia, né Umberto Anastasio, c'est un bandit ou gangster américain-italien. Lui a été né en Tropea, Calabria, Italie. Dans 1936, Winnie Mandela, activiste contre l'apartheid et politicien de l'Afrique du Sud, a été né en Bizana, Pondoland, Afrique du Sud. Dans 1948, Olivia Newton-John, chanteuse et actrice australienne, a été née en Cambridge, Angleterre. Dans 1956, Linda Hamilton, c'est une actrice américaine. Elle a été née en Salisbury, Maryland. Dans 1965, Jill Soloway, écrivaine et directrice américaine, a été née en Chicago, Illinois. Et dans 1981, Serena Williams, américaine et joueur de tennis, avec 23 titres de Grand Chelem, Grand Slam titles, a été née en Saginaw, Michigan. Et ça, c'est des bonnes fêtes pour aujourd'hui. Bonne fête tout le monde. À venir ici, Jacques Surette avec Marche, Marche, Marche. Hi guys, thanks for tuning into my live. Had a few you pop in while I was reading off the birthday announcements. I'm going to go back here, close that. Close that. Close that. Anyone have some random information they want me to talk about on the radio? If you do, give me a call, 902-648-2432. That's here in the studio at CIFA. Birthday announcements, I can add some after the fact. Community announcements, do you have something going on? Fundraisers, yard sales, stuff like that? Let me know. I've had some people express interest in like a swap shop style thing. I don't know how it would play out if Y95 could come after us for copying their idea or not. So you have to be wary of that kind of stuff. But I don't know. What do they call those? They do them in the papers. where they have, why can't I remember that word? They have ads, the classifieds. So, les classifiés. Par-en-Bas classifieds, Down Under's classifieds. Hey, how's it going? Glad to have you on live. It's hard to say if there's actual people watching or if it's now more like a video. I see a little eye that gives me a number of the people watching. It's great to see that fluctuate up and down, and it's nice to have an actual human being listening to you live. It makes it more like a conversation. Then you can comment, leave thoughts, questions, concerns, ideas. If you want to see my opinion on something, if you think I'm a jerk and you wonder, and you've got that opinion based on something you've heard about me, ask my opinion on something, and I'll gladly let you know. Jim, how's it going, bud? It's been a while. So yeah, give me your opinions, your thoughts, your concerns. Jim is our union rep at the hospital with QP 8920. Does a great job. He's always attending meetings. Thanks very much for all the work you're doing, Jim, by the way. And yeah, you've kind of joined me on my live that goes in conjunction with my show. I'm on again in just a few seconds here, so you'll have to excuse me. And I'll be back right after that. Vous êtes rendu ici sur CIFA 104,1 FM avec Jay Hubbard à Voix'd Par-en-Bas. Je suis ici lundi à vendredi de 12h à 3. Ça c'est Atlantic Standard Time pour faire sûr. C'est couramment 1h15. Je vais vous dire ce qui se passe au Conseil acadien Par-en-Bas, au CAPEB comme vous l'appelez. So, on a un forum acadien le vendredi à le dimanche, le 4, 5 et le 6 octobre. So, ça va bien vite là. Ça c'est presque vendredi, c'est next vendredi. Ça c'est incroyable. Wowzers. Anyway, forum acadien vendredi à dimanche 4, 5 et le 6 octobre. Le samedi 19 octobre, il va y avoir un KISS Tribute Band. Experience Largale, ça va être le jeudi 14 novembre. Et ça, c'est typiquement de la musique, des démonstrations des besoins de Par-en-Bas ici. Qu'est-ce que Argyle a à montrer au monde. Ça, c'est Expérience Argyle. Puis, il va y avoir un fashion show pour un prélèvement de fonds pour la classe de finissant 2019 au Vaughan de l'école secondaire Par-en-Bas. Aussi situé à la salle Paris Leblanc, vous trouverez Linda Jacquard à la pirouette Par-en-Bas. Et vous pouvez la rejoindre au 902-648-307 Yon. La pirouette vous invite au programme gratuit suivant. Ils sont free. Écoutez Yon. Bébé et moi, les jeudis matin de 10h jusqu'à 11h, pendant le 5 septembre au 11 juin, c'est-à-dire l'année scolaire, pour les mamans, les papas et les bébés âgés de 0 jusqu'à 18 mois. Chaque semaine, il y aura des chansons, des danses, la lecture des livres et des discussions de progrès des bébés. Il y aura de l'information dentaire à propos de la fièvre, la nourriture, l'allaitement et autres affaires. Le prochain programme s'est appelé Au Galop, comme galloping, comme un cheval, les mardis matins de 9h30 jusqu'à 10h30 pendant le 10 septembre au 9 juin. Groupe de jeux pour des enfants âgés de plus de 18 mois. Et le dernier programme, c'est la petite histoire les mercredis matins de 10h jusqu'à 11h pendant le 11 de septembre au 10 de juin. C'est pour les enfants âgés de 18 mois ou à 3 ans, jusqu'à 3 ans je voulais dire. Il y aura des contes, des chants et du bricolage, du do-it-yourself. Pour autre information, de nouveau, vous pouvez rejoindre Linda Jacquard à la pirouette Par-en-Bas au 902-648-3071. Vous pouvez aussi aller sur le site web à CAPEB, c'est capeb.ca. Et ça, c'est tout pour Aster. Maintenant, Mike avec, back to Claire. Hey guys, Josh. It's nice to see you popping in and out every once in a while, Josh. I like seeing repeat offenders, so to speak, coming in and seeing what's going on. Matthew Joseph Blin, speaking of repeat offenders, he's back. Matthew Labarre Blin. Et Claude, la chef de crêpes et de l'amour, Godin. $3.24. Back dans Claw. Oh, Rachine. Allez, back dans Claw. Mike. Gros Mike avec Godin. C'est ce gars. Ça sonne comme Mike. Is that the guy? Mike Godin. The jam avec Mike là. Got to jam with Mike a couple times. It was fun. Believe it or not, tunes, jamming, that's where I came up initially. Didn't even know what was going on. I call it transcendental resonance. So imagine every emanation of any emotion as sending out, just like light emanates from a point of origin in all directions. So it sends out a frequency. Him and Marco Polo Joe. I'd never met Marco Polo Joe, oddly enough. But like some of his tunes for sure. I don't know about the Busted Rapier or whatever, or Rapier Bus or whatever. I was like, what is this? But it's good stuff. Anyway. So yeah, every emotion, every feeling, every thought, imagine it going out into the universe at a certain frequency. They say evil or bad or not good things, the yang of the world, the yangs are a low frequency, and the good, the yings of the world are high frequency. So when I was, in certain instances, when I play music, don't even know what causes it, because you can play the same chord a million times over, then all of a sudden a chord and a harmony will hit at the right time, and I start to feel it in my fingers. It'll vibrate through my fingers, kind of gets to my core. That's funny. Claude Godin's family used to move a lot when he was a kid, but he always found them. La Basse Rape. Yeah, that's the one. It's funny. His songs are funny. So yeah, to get back to that, tingly like feeling in your fingers, hits you in your core and your solar plexus, and kind of rushes from there right out of your head. And when that's happening, and I'm just tingling, I'm na des frissons qui se passent partout. Chills everywhere. It's past chills though, because you almost feel like you're levitating. There's nothing I'm experiencing physically that I can explain that feeling from. What I feel like happens is you, in doing that, are connecting to a frequency with the people in the crowd. And the more people that connect, the more the vibrating frequency gets what amplitude. So one person, you get a frequency is how quickly a wave goes up and down, how frequently it goes up and down. Amplitude is how far up it goes, how much power it has. So the more people that connect to that frequency, cool. Bass player, we're gonna have to jam, dude. I only picked up a guitar because I wanted something to accompany singing. So singing is my bag. That's what I like. Play guitar, bit of bass. I'm not a slap bass guy, but I could play like a funk line a little bit. Bit of drums, some keys. Tried violin, but I kept wanting to pick it, so it came out sounding like crap. But just, if it makes noise, I can figure it out. I'm kind of trying to train perfect pitch too. So I'm finding out here late in life that my ear might be attuned to that kind of stuff. If you have a tuner on your phone, a guitar or bass tuner, we could try a trick live and even see if that worked. I don't know if over the air it would, but it'd be cool to try. And you'd basically say, okay, whenever you're ready, go. And I'm going to pick, say, a D. D is one of the chords that I can think about a song that's in that chord, and I should be able to sing it for you without having heard anything. So yeah, I just haven't trained that. I know some people that can listen to a song and call the chords as they're going by. Like, oh, that's an A minor, that's an E flat, that's an E minor 7th over C, or that's a D sharp over F, or that's so. They're just calling out these crazy things. If you want to be freaked out by that, check out a young guy named Dylan Beato, Beato. His dad is Rick Beato. Got some great videos on YouTube. Oh, vinyl. Nothing sounds as good as vinyl. So yeah. Someday, find a tuner. We'll do it over the phone and see if it works. Like, I'll just hum the note and see if I'm humming it in pitch. Huh. Kind of crazy to try that. See if an internet signal can relay frequency accurately. Hey Graham, how's it going? But yeah, nice hi-fi. I hear ya. I got a buddy that he calls himself an audiophile. Before he had kids, there's a before and after. So after he had kids, decent system. He's got a K100, I think it is, an old Kenwood amp, and a couple of Technics tower speakers that are 3 feet tall or so, maybe a 10-inch woofer, some mid-bass drivers and some tweets. Hey Donnie, how's it going? He was telling me about back in the day before kids. He had a player, I forget the brand name, it was a $3,000 record player. That's all it did. It wasn't something you could scratch with. Like, it wasn't anything special except for the head on this record player was absolutely perfect. The amplifier was another $5,000 because it was a tube amp. It was all sorts of crazy stuff. He was telling me about all that. He had one buddy that had a $25,000. So Matthew Blinn says audiophiles are in a higher tax bracket than I could ever attain. Same here, buddy. Like, I'm lucky if I have a decent set of headphones. Like, anyway, he had a buddy that had a $25,000 speaker set. That was just speakers, no other equipment at all. It's $25 grand. I used to set up like Dolby Digital, Pro Logic, all that stuff. I was like a certified technician to tune and set up 5.1 surround sound systems or 7.1, 9.1. Catch to all those higher, anything past 5.1, there's very few movies that are created in a true format that's 7.1. Around $1 grand altogether for that system. Yeah, it's, you can spend immeasurable amounts of money. Like this Matt guy, now that he's more established, his kids are getting older, he bought a $700 set of Miles Davis earbuds by Monster. $700 for earbuds. But let me tell you, the processor he has on his system, it's a digital processor. Its only job is to clarify the sound. The cables on his system are 30 grand. Like, I don't know, man. I've set up $20,000 systems for people. Hi Karen, how are you? Yep, set up those systems, and yeah, don't get me wrong, they sound great. And if you spend the time tuning them to set all the delays in your speakers and to set a true 5.1 to have 5 channels, I always use the same DVD. It's an old school Eagles Hell Freezes Over DVD. That at the end of it, they had one song, 7 Bridges Road, that was in 5.1. I'd take my time, I'd sit there and I'd listen to the speakers, and I'd always tell the people while I'm setting it up, if they're there watching, I'm like, all right, I'm just listening for an audible change from left speaker to center speaker, or from center to right, or whatever, going around the room. It's audible, but it's almost imperceptible. If you're not listening for it, you're not going to tell. Once the system's tuned to that, you could turn on that song, sit in the middle of the room with the speakers all around you, close your eyes, and you'd swear there's one out of the 5 guys in the Eagles standing around you in a circle, all just singing at you in a room. Just blends, and that caused people are just getting chills and freaking out by the sound listening to that. That's transcendental resonance too. So is Cody Lee, that just won America's Got Talent. Stuff that kid can do with his voice, just bringing people to tears. That's transcendental resonance. That's like a bandwidth, like FM for frequency modulation, or AM is amplitude modulation. I hope to kind of coin TR as another bandwidth that you can tune into to experience transcendentalism. So the ads are running through. Sound imaging, you betcha. And you can set up a sound stage so that it's done right, that there's no delays. It's hard to beat. I had people with like $5,000 systems, they were never tuned right. When they tuned them up, they said it's never sounded like this ever before. In any case, I gotta check out what's going on. And they're trying to visit Radio Sept en tous chat avec Jay Hubbard à Voix'd Par-en-Bas. Merci beaucoup pour me rejoindre ici sur 104,1 FM. Vous pouvez aussi me rejoindre sur Facebook. Allez là, cherchez pour Jay Hubbard, tu trouveras mon live feed là. Je suis pas en toute la journée que je suis sur les ondes, mais je suis là de temps en temps, quand même. Aussi, si tu es sur mon Facebook, tu peux garder la pétition ici. Je me donne un deadline. So, par la fin du mois, however, signatures que j'ai là-dessus, c'est là que je vais arrêter. Je vais aller garder tout le monde pour actually signer la pétition. Ça, c'est pour changer le bout du highway. Pour quitter rid, comme je dis rien, du but à la fin du highway 103. Ce qui pour pouvoir, au moins, comment je dirais ça? Ce qui pour au point mettre ça, le 101 et le 103 ensemble et faire ça plus efficient, au moins pour rester, pour le faire safe. Get rid of the hill. Je ne sais pas comment autre que pour dire ça. Quand même, une approche de 1000 personnes ici, quand vous signez ça, et ça va être, ça devrait, la fin du mois, ça devrait me donner du temps en masse pour emmener le franc pétition à Colton Libling, notre député au MLA de Argyle-Barrington. Aussi, je vais parler à Zach Churchill là-dessus. J'espère peut-être parler à propos de ça avec peut-être les candidats fédéraux comme Chris D'Entremont ou Jason Deveau. Je ne suis pas right sur les autres là, immédiatement. Quand même, j'aimerais parler à toutes sortes de monde à propos de ça. Il y a vu les funds, c'est rare de dire qu'est-ce que le priority. So, face à ça, safety is priority 1. Quand même. C'est tout pour rester, j'ai parlé trop. J'écouterai d'autres tunes ici, ça va venir avec Laurie et Paulette Chavary, les beaux yeux noirs. $235. Joe Ben. I'm gonna throw in this. Yep, right there. 14 seconds over. That's good. So So 2.0 for sound staging, you're not getting any, obviously no vertical elevations. Basically what you're doing with sound imaging is trying to replicate exactly what the sound would have been were that band to be right in front of you in a room playing acoustically. So to do that with stereo, you need, if you're in a room, you're not just getting a left channel coming to your left ear and a right channel going to your right ear. You're getting a mix of everything. So if your right ear is closer to a wall, you're going to get the sound that bounces off the wall and comes to that. So that's why you see people will tilt, instead of speakers being straight, they'll kind of tilt them inwards. So what you're getting is most of the sound going to one ear. So most of the sound comes here from this side. But if you tilt it inwards, a little bit of it bleeds over to the left. In so doing, as soon as you focus sound this way, at some point the two sound waves are going to hit each other and they're going to make a node. That node is, the waves are going to cancel one another out. And if you were to just take two speakers and take them that are facing you and face them completely to one another, if somehow you could measure it after it happens, those sound waves will hit one another and stop pretty much. You'll get a dead air, but it'll bounce off and you'll get a reflective sound or an echo. So you have to watch out for dead spots. You try to make a dead spot somewhere where somebody's not sitting. And in 5.1, there is no true, in a theater, for example, they have 5.1 audio in the cinemas in Yarmouth. But you'll notice they've got speakers all along the edges of the theater. Each set of speakers has an optimal location for the front left, front right. Center is through the middle of the screen. Actually, in a theater, there's perforations in the screen. The center channel is meant to be voices. Your voice, my mouth, is in the center of this screen. So if you have a speaker right where the mouths would be, that makes it realistic. It sounds like it's coming from their mouths. So center speakers, that's what they replicate. Mouth, audio, stuff like that. Left channel's meant to bring things from the left. I don't know which perspective. It's a mirror image, potentially, that you guys are seeing. So this might be left for you, or this might be left. This is my left. There's my wedding ring on my left, for example. So anyway, sounds left and right are for background noise. It's the walla of the movie, they call it. That's the term for the audio background noise in the music is walla. Or cars. If a car is going from left to right, it's going to take the sound in the left speaker, start there, and as it drives past, it's going to pan to the right-hand side, and that's going to give you the illusion of moving sound. Reverse is the same thing. So you can go, if it's going from a left perspective towards the back of you, it's going to move from the front left speaker to the rear left speaker. And left and right can be used as a blend to replicate sound from behind you. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. Oh, when I was setting up a 5.1 system for somebody in their house, there's always one optimal seating position. You can make that a couch and go to the center of the couch. Couch is the optimal seating position, or the left side where you always have your recliner. That's one position and gets the absolute best sound. If you go just slightly right, if you're on a 3-person couch, the person to the right is getting a right side accentuation, so it's not true sound. The person too far to the left is getting a left accentuation, again, not true. If you get right in the middle, you're getting the speakers focused directly on you, and that there's a give and take in a theater on that, no matter what. But typically theaters are geared up for the sound, the central seating position to be about 3/4 of the way up, very close to the rear speakers where you can get that good rear sound, about 3/4 of the way up the seating, right in the dead center. So if you're looking smack in the middle of the screen, that speaker in the center is pointing at you, the voices are talking to you directly. The rest of the whole theater is tuned around that being a focus point. So that's the best seating in this theater for audio reasons. To me, the theater is too loud. It's bordering, I don't know how to word it. You have to accommodate for people that have hearing issues. but it's definitely too loud. So I'd rather have a really good TV and a really good 5.1 setup in a house that's built specifically for it. And I've actually done some of those. I had one customer at one point that had stadium seating, 3-tiered stadium seating with recliners. And again, I said to the owner, where are you going to sit? What's your favorite chair? He's like, I don't know, in the middle there. And I said, okay, perfect. So I sat in that chair. For me, I've got to close my eyes to get the sound staging right. So I'm closing my eyes, I'm listening to make sure, like I said, that you hear the pan from left to center to right to rear left, and it keeps going around. It's got this white noise, and you're listening to hear it change speakers, but it should be almost imperceptible. Once you've reached that point and you've set the delays, so the speakers, depending on the distance from your ear, it takes different amount of time for the sound to get to your ear. So you set in, they all have settings that tell you how far your speakers are away, and you measure from that central spot, not to the seat, you measure to where the head would be. So you get the exact measurements, you put them in there. The more exact you are, the more precise the sound is. The more you sound, it feels like that Eagles DVD I was telling you about, singing Seven Bridges Road. You wouldn't be able to tell that every Joe Walsh and Don Henley and what are the guys' names now? I'm forgetting them. Don Felder, Don Henley, Joe Walsh, DJ Byrne. All those guys are basically, it feels like they're standing around you singing if you tune up that system right. And if you ever want advice on how to do that, let me know. I haven't done it full time for a while, but I used to set up those Dolby True Sound systems and ProLogic and all that kind of stuff. I forget the names of them now even. But tuning a surround sound system, you wouldn't believe what it does to change the sound. Glenn Fry, yeah, that's right. So Don Henley, Don Fedler, Glenn Fry, Joe Walsh, and I'm missing one guy. Oh, Timothy B. Schmidt. So those 5 guys, in that Seven Bridges Road performance on Hell Freezes Over DVD, it's just one 5.1 tune out of that whole DVD. It was just starting to be a thing. And they basically, each one of them gets in front of a mic and sings his part. Then the audio engineer balances that out. So with a properly tuned system, if you close your eyes, you'd swear they're just in the room singing at you. And somebody else is piping in music that just like it's coming from the angels. It's crazy. And all it takes is tuning up your system so the electronics know what it's trying to do with things. I've heard of guys taking every single channel. If you look at old school 5.1, I can't even remember what it's called, but every single channel had its own output, and you could send the signal from your left front, your center, your right front, your rear left, your rear right. You could send that signal to an individual amplifier, and the real audiophile people were putting tube amps on each channel, and then each speaker had its own amp. It's craziness, but whatever. People spend money on things the way they see fit, and I just always loved sound. I got into it. I was like 16 years old, bought my first car, and bass was a thing here. It was the fad. Having subs and speakers and stuff in your car, and I started with that. I was too broke to pay people to do it, so I started learning how do you hook up a CD player. Then it was tape players. I bought my first CD player in '93. It was a Panasonic 25 watts root mean square, or RMS per channel, which is nowadays Bill Meisner. Might be Meisner now. I think he took over Don Felder's place. Bill Meisner did. Don Felder was, he played a Gibson SG electric. Timothy B. Schmidt kind of looks like a Navajo American Indian. Long, straight hair, very sharp features, and sings the highs. Plays fretless bass. And some of the songs, like, I think New York Minute's one of the tunes, he plays a fretless bass in that, and he sings... Love Will Keep Us Alive. It's really high-pitched tune. So that's Timothy B. Schmidt, their bassist. One of their guitarists was replaced. So I think Henley and Felder or whatever, Don Henley and Don Felder kind of had a falling out. Initially, what caused the whole Hell Freezes Over is that the guys in the Eagles said, we're not playing again until Hell Freezes Over. Take It to the Limit is Don Henley, I'm pretty sure. Take it to the limit. Yeah, that's Henley. Schmidt replaced Meisner. Okay, Randy Meisner, is it? Yeah, right. That sounds familiar now that you say it. I've got some old Eagles stuff. Like, Dad was always into guitar, and he got me into this tune. I play it now almost every live show, called Train Leaves Here This Morning. That's like way back. The Eagles are basically they were recording artists. What do they call studio artists? So yeah, they were studio artists, and I might be all wrong, Matt. I really don't know. But they were studio artists for a recording company. I think they worked for Disney, some of them. And yeah, Train Leaves Here This Morning is one of the really old tunes. I gotta figure out what to talk about here. I'm out of ideas. Randy Meisner, yeah. That makes sense. I'm on here in just a second, guys, so excuse me. And there cannot sac, vous êtes rendu ici sur CIFA 104,1 FM avec Jay Hubbard, à Voix'd Par-en-Bas. Merci pour me rejoindre aujourd'hui. Je parle justement sur le Facebook Live, là. Je pense à... Il y a beaucoup de monde quand ils ont peut-être acheté à TV ou des sound systems ou du stuff de même. C'est du stuff que je faisais ça pour un living, comme ils disaient, des années passées, dans le commencement 2000, je faisais ça pour Garth Davis, là, c'était Skytech à ce temps-là. Quand même, si vous avez des questions, si vous avez une opinion qui point... Comment je dirais ça? An objective opinion. Si tu as une opinion, tu as un mode de TV que tu pourras acheter pour te sauver de l'argent. Pourquoi est-ce que cette TV ici qui est 50 pouces coûte plus que cette TV là qui est 50 pouces? L'information de même, j'ai a wealth of useless knowledge pour du stuff de même. So, si envoyez-moi un message et je t'écris savoir qu'est-ce qu'il faut penser à propos quand tu achètes des TVs ou des sound systems. Du stuff de même. C'est ta coutume que je set up du stuff de même. À cette heure, je travaille 2 jobs pour pouvoir le faire. Mais je peux encore répondre des questions quand j'ai une break. So, quand même, tu vas écouter des tunes et tu vas jouer ces tunes-là sur vos beaux sound system. Ça va commencer avec Soleil, je reviendrai à moi. Cool. Hey guys. Poco. Cool. Yeah, thanks for the info, man. I'd forgotten about Meisner altogether. Randy Meisner. Yes, sir. I feel like Meisner would is his name on like Take It Easy and stuff? I feel like it was. Anyway. That's the Eagles. Love talking about Eagles and stuff like that. Old music, new music. We talked sort of about psychedelic compounds, and people always talk about the wealth, the depth of music, of lyricism from the 60s. And I mean, let me see if I'm just trying to roll through the ideas. Like, it's hard sometimes to take a concept out of your head and speak it for the first time. You don't even know what's coming out of your head until you actually say it. Nonetheless, in the 50s, maybe even 40s, 50s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like jazz music, there's starting to be people that are coming up with new styles, and they're getting out like boogie woogies and rocks and rock and roll, and they're being super creative. By the 60s, most of that stuff has already been invented. But something crazy happens. These two professors, Albert Hoffman and Timothy Leary, Harvard professors, decide to do what they call an acid test. So lysergic acid diethylamide, or LSD, was what they use as a compound, and they figure out that if they give 4.5 million doses to people worldwide or America-wide, that they're going to influence change, because in the right set and setting, and I do not condone the use of these things, they're illicit drugs for a reason. In the right set and setting, you can elicit change in people. You can get them to face their demons, get over them, and embrace their inner being. I feel like the 60s, what ended up being a hippies movement, was fueled by that. So they basically had learned to put their egos aside and just live in truth. And in so doing, if their truth is enlightened music, these musicians in the 60s were laying that down. That was what they felt. There was no more ego to it. They were just singing and emoting freely. That created stuff that's almost unsurpassed. Nonetheless, I think ever since then we've been kind of dwindling or getting more egoic. We're not working on getting the ego out of the way for the most part. And that can be detrimental when it comes to creativity, because how do you create a piece of art that resonates with people if you don't even know what resonating truly is? Yeah, that's that X factor that they talk about in the music industry. It seems like for the most part in the pop culture, in the pop music industry, the X factor is you look the part. You're that attractive person that doesn't even have to be able to sing anymore, because they're going to have an audio engineer that's going to auto-tune the living crap out of everything you put out. And I've been wrong in that. For example, I had that stance of like, pop music is crap. They're putting out crap. None of these people connect to me in any manner. And then someday I was looking on TV. There's nothing on TV. I was bored. I'm looking for something to watch. I see John Mayer, Where the Light Is. And that's on, I don't know what it was on even, PBS? It's like a special. And that's just about to start. So, whatever, I'll tune into that. So I tune in. In basically speaking, he starts and opens for himself on acoustic guitar. So it's him and his guitar, and he's doing and playing these songs, and the musicianship is crazy. I'm like, okay. I underestimated this guy's musicianship. We got a call, excuse me. CIFA, Jay Hubbard. Hi Lisa, comment ça va? Okay. Yep, go. Ouais. Okay. Demande. Cut. À la réception. Pour l'université. Réception. Université. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Hey guys. Excuse me. 56, 7, 8, 9, 940, 959. That's great. apologize if you're joining me now. About to do the weather. It's bad enough reading through that Quebec French and figuring out what they're saying, let alone when your voice isn't functioning. Ego. What is an ego in French? Ego. So, I'm getting to the point where I gotta start thinking on my feet mid-tune. Maybe add a couple of my own tunes. But we were just talking before that. I'm sorry, it's evaded me now that I've gotten the phone call there. Where were we? I don't remember. Hey, Matthew, do you remember where I was a couple minutes ago? I got a phone call just to put a community announcement on there a couple times. So I'll do that at the top of the hour and again at the end of the hour, probably. And in so doing, I lost my train of thought, so I can't remember exactly where we were. Sorry about that. Hey, I got somebody new. Steve LeBlanc. Hi, Steve. How you doing, man? Josh Trask has nothing but good things to tell me about you and Tite Mo. I guess you guys are in university together, maybe? So yeah, top of the hour, I got some weather, so I'm just kind of hydrating for that. Lube up my moneymaker, which is my throat. Too tired looking to make my face my moneymaker. So just putting the lies here to give, to broaden the audience, kind of let people know what's going on, what kind of things are interesting me, what I want to talk about. I never know what's going to trigger the next idea. Like at one point I was like, I think I have an idea for a doctorate. And I didn't even know at that point that medical doctors don't do theses or theses. They, it's not part of medical doctors. Nonetheless, I'm going to refresh my weather. Cool. That's better. Wonderful. Now it's giving rain for tomorrow. You guys believe that? Here's something I kind of want to put my 2 cents in on. So I've got about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. How is it possible with today's supercomputers that they can't put in all the weather history, all the barometric pressures for all the areas that they're measured on the entire planet and get an accurate weather model? Why is that? How is it that they are considered a profession when they're wrong almost as frequently as they're right? Yeah, they do a great job in predicting, and they are right a lot of the time. I'm not sure if I know of another job where you can just, here's my best guess, and if you're wrong, whatever. It's craziness. Anyway. Sunny out. Sometimes the banalities in speech kind of drive me nuts, though. Like, to walk up to somebody and do an icebreaker, hey, nice weather we've been having, or blah, 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 or... Sometimes that's painful. Like, I want to talk about deep stuff to people that are willing to listen to it, and if you're one of those people, join me. Let's create our own tribe and start educating the masses by disseminating information. And that basically means to take something, separate it into parts, and put it out there for the masses to chew up and learn about. But we can't forget social interaction, because we're getting further and further away from that, and I think that in itself is causing a lot of dis-ease. A lot of soulful dis-ease. I basically think our souls were created, if indeed they were created to resonate amongst many people. And the more people, the more something can elevate. The amplitude of the resonant wave, the resonant frequency, elevates and gets into the entire ethers and resonates with that. And that is basically a way to show God what our senses are experiencing. Because if God is God, he's just energy. He has no senses. So he lives vicariously through us. That's my theory in that. And I can explain that to you in ways that make sense biblically or otherwise, or scientifically. You just need a chance to get together and talk. I'm on again, so excuse me. I will be back soon. C'est couramment 2 heures. Ces conditions actuelles ont été enregistrées à l'aéroport de Yarmouth à 1 heure. C'est couramment 18 degrés Celsius, généralement ensoleillé, pression barométrique qui tient à 101,1 kPa, humidité de 59%, vent du sud-ouest à 24 km/h avec une visibilité de 24 km. Les prévisions ont été émises à 11 heures à matin. Aujourd'hui, ça donne généralement ensoleillé, vent devenant sud-ouest 20 km/h avec rafale de 40 cet après-midi. Maximum 18 sur 20 heures à l'intérieur des terres, indice UV de 6 ou élevé. Ce soir et cette nuit, ennuagement, averse ou des showers qui commencera après minuit, nappe de brume au cours de la nuit, hauteur prévue de 5 à 10 mm. Vent du sud-ouest de 20 km/h avec rafale à 40 du nord-ouest. Minimum de 12. Vendredi, ça donne beau soleil, dégagement par la suite de showers dans le matin. Vent du nord-ouest 20 km/h avec rafale à 40, maximum 17, indice UV de 5 ou modéré. Pour la nuit, beau et clair, minimum de 10 degrés. Pardon my English. So as I was saying, I'm going to have to spend a bit of time planning out what I'm going to talk about off the cuff, basically, because I'm out of the banalities, the birthday announcements and the National Day announcements and the community announcements that do affect our area. So I do that as often as possible, and I'm going to repeat it at the top and the end of the hour once I'm on again here. And so yeah, for now, I'm going to say thank you, and I hope to see you again tomorrow, which is my last emission for the week. Keep an eye out. At some point on the weekend, whether it's Saturday night, may not be. We have some plans, so I might be indisposed for a while Saturday night. If not Saturday, then Sunday sometime. Monday is podcast day, and I want to get a proper podcast out there for people to see. So keep an eye out for it. Look forward to hear from you, get your comments, all that kind of stuff. Have a good weekend, everybody. Peace.